This Fox News alert for you now. President Trump will handle it. That stern warning coming from top U.S. officials as North Korea sends new threats of nuclear war. Greg Palcott joins us now from London with the latest. Good morning, Greg.
Good morning, Heather. That's right. Tough talk coming from the Trump administration about North Korea, coming specifically from National Security Advisor General H.R. McMaster. Speaking to Fox News on Sunday, he said, in fact, that the Trump administration will deal with any issues coming from Pyongyang. Take a listen.
If necessary, the president and the United States will have to take care of it, because he has said he's not going to allow this murderous rogue regime to threaten the United States.
This all comes as the U.S. and South Korea launch huge joint aerial military drills starting today, going through all this week. Some 230 aircraft involved, including stealth aircraft, as well as 12,000 U.S. service members, both Marine and Navy. They're being deployed from 8 different bases in the region. Now, all of this is annual, pre-planned, but it does come in the wake of last week's launching of an ICBM by North Korea, the longest range, most powerful ever, capable, according to experts that we spoke with, of hitting all of the U.S. mainland with a nuclear payload, potentially. The regime of Kim Jong-un, following that, said that they had completed their rocket and nuclear arsenal. As for these exercises over the weekend, Pyongyang state media saying that all of this pushes the Korean Peninsula to the brink of nuclear war, and just for good measure, they branded President Trump insane. A couple more comments from General McMaster, Heather, also telling Fox that the president has told his team to move as quickly as possible to deal with the situation. Very fast-moving.
In response to the recent missile launch from up north, Seoul and Washington begin another combined drill. This one is the largest Air Force exercise to date and involves various wartime scenarios, including targeting the regime's key nuclear and missile facilities. Kim Hyun-bin starts us off with how the allies are speaking to Pyongyang using a language the Hermit Kingdom clearly and easily understand, a massive show of force.
Dozens of state-of-the-art American fighter jets, including F-22 Raptors and F-35s, are blazing across the skies surrounding the Korean Peninsula. Their goal in this training exercise is to take out key North Korean nuclear facilities. Scores of fighter jets neutralize hostile threats while escorting bombers to their designated targets north of the border. The bombers drop their bombs, demolishing all targets. The simulation of a possible wartime scenario is part of the major Air Force exercise dubbed Vigilant Ace. It comes less than a week after North Korea launches newly developed intercontinental ballistic missile. The 5-day exercise is the largest ever combined Air Force drill between the two allies, involving 238 warplanes and around 12,000 personnel.
The exercise is held annually. We hold it to enhance our joint operations capabilities.
6 F-22s and 6 F-35s have been deployed to the Korean Peninsula, marking the first time the highly advanced jets have cruised the skies above Korea at the same time. Other U.S. assets include 2 B-1B bombers and 6 Growler electronic warfare jets, as well as dozens of F-15s and F-16s. South Korea has deployed 90 fighter jets, including its F-15 and F-A-50 fighters. North Korea condemned the drills on Sunday, saying they could lead to an all-out provocation that may lead to a nuclear war. Writing a commentary in North Korea's state-run Rodong Shinmun on Sunday, Pyongyang says such a drill is a dangerous provocation, as it's driving tensions on the Korean Peninsula to the brink of a war, and that both South Korean and the U.S. puppet forces are foolish to run amok with such stealth fighters.
In your mind, what is the greatest threat to national security?
Well, I would say that as we look at a time horizon associated with threats, the greatest immediate threat to the United States and to the world is the threat posed by the rogue regime in North Korea and his continued efforts to develop a long-range nuclear capability. And so it's immensely important that we work together with all of our allies, partners, everyone internationally to convince Kim Jong-un that the continued pursuit of these capabilities is a dead end for him and his regime.
Where are we with North Korea right now?
We're getting close to military conflict because North Korea is marching toward marrying up the technology of an ICBM with a nuclear weapon on top that can not only get to America but deliver the weapon. We're running out of time. McMaster said that yesterday. I'm going to urge the Pentagon not to send any more dependents to South Korea. South Korea should be an unaccompanied tour. It's crazy to send spouses and children to South Korea given the provocation of North Korea. So I want them to stop sending dependents, and I think it's now time to start moving American dependents out of South Korea.
In a massive show of force to North Korea, South Korea and the United States have kicked off their largest Air Force exercise to date, just 5 days after Pyongyang launched its new ICBM. The drills will run through various wartime scenarios, including targeting North Korea's key nuclear and missile facilities. Defense Ministry correspondent Kim Hyun-bin leading us off.
Dozens of state-of-the-art American fighter jets, including F-22 Raptors and F-35s, are blazing across the skies surrounding the Korean peninsula. Their goal in this training exercise is to take out key North Korean nuclear facilities. Scores of fighter jets neutralize hostile threats while escorting bombers to their designated targets north of the border. The bombers drop their bombs, demolishing all targets. The simulation of a possible wartime scenario is part of the major Air Force exercise dubbed Vigilant Ace. It comes less than a week after North Korea launches newly developed intercontinental ballistic missile. The 5-day exercise is the largest ever combined Air Force drill between the two allies, involving 230 warplanes and around 12,000 personnel.
The exercise is held annually. We hold it to enhance our joint operations capabilities.
6 F-22s and 6 F-35s have been deployed to the Korean peninsula, marking the first time the highly advanced jets have cruised the skies above Korea at the same time. Other U.S. assets include 2 B-1B bombers and 6 Growler electronic warfare jets, as well as dozens of F-15s and F-16s. South Korea has deployed 90 fighter jets, including its F-15 and F-A-50 fighters. North Korea condemned the drills on Sunday, saying they could lead to an all-out provocation that may lead to a nuclear war. Running a commentary in North Korea's state-run Rodong Shinmun on Sunday, Pyongyang says such a drill is a dangerous provocation, as it's driving tensions on the Korean peninsula to the brink of a war, and that both South Korean and the U.S. puppet forces are foolish to run amok with such stealth fighters.
We're being told that the ICBM, the most recent launch, broke up on re-entry. Is North Korea having trouble on that re-entry step, and thereby right now the U.S. overall is not at threat from their ballistic missiles?
Well, it'll take some time to assess each of these missile launches, but what is clear is that every time he conducts a missile launch and nuclear test, he gets better. And whether it's a success or failure isn't as important as understanding that over the years, he's been learning from failures, improving, and thereby increasing his threat to all of us.
So has the potential of war with North Korea increased since this latest launch?
I think it's increasing every day, which means that we're in a race, really. We're in a race to be able to solve this problem, not just us, right, but the United States, all of our allies and partners. As we know, China has tremendous coercive economic power over North Korea. I mean, you can't shoot a missile without fuel, right? And so there are ways to address this problem short of armed conflict. But it is a race because he's getting closer and closer, and there's not much time left. That this is a threat to everyone. This is a global threat. This is a threat to China. What Kim Jong-un is doing is driving us closer and closer together and coalescing. the international community against Kim Jong-un. If you think about what's happened just in recent months, and I think this ought to be something maybe we ought to provide a roll-up of, but countries across the globe have taken action beyond UN Security Council resolutions. First of all, South Korea and Japan are improving their defense capabilities at breakneck speed, and they're doing that in cooperation with us. We're doing that through joint bilateral exercises and multilateral exercises in Korea and elsewhere. But also we're doing it with improved defense capabilities. But what's been striking, I think, is how many nations have expelled North Korean diplomats who have ceased all economic relations with North Korea. This is from the Philippines to Thailand to Vietnam to Sudan to Brazil to Mexico. I mean, so many examples of countries who are acting beyond the UN Security Council resolutions and supporting all of our efforts to convince Kim Jong-un that this is a dead end, diplomatically and economically.